All right, time to dive in. Today, it's all about time management. Always relevant, sometimes a bit stressful.
Right. Oh, for sure.
We're looking at a 2017 piece from the Academy of Management Perspectives Journal
Uh-huh.
called It's About Time, New Perspectives and Insights on Time Management.
Catchy.
It is. It's by Brad Eon and Herman McGinnis.
Hmm.
And I bet you're wondering, like most of us, does time management really work? Does it make us, less stressed, more
Basket of
productive,
questions.
or is it just another, productivity fad?
Right.
Well, get ready,
Yeah.
because we're going to uncover some facts that might just change how you think about time.
Interesting.
It is.
It's kind of wild that after centuries of philosophers and productivity gurus going on about time, we still don't have a single agreed upon definition of what time management is.
It's true. We've all got our calendars, to-do lists, maybe even an app
Yeah.
reminding us to, drink water and breathe. But what does managing time actually mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, Anne and Guinness, they define it as, and I'm quoting here, a form of decision making used by individuals to structure, protect, and adapt their time to changing conditions. So it's not just about, scheduling stuff, it's about making choices about how we use our time.
So should we be thinking of it more like uh, budgeting, but for our hours instead of our dollars?
That's a good analogy. And like with budgeting money, some people are just naturally better at it than others, right?
Hmm.
That's a big takeaway from the research. Like there's no one size fits all time management solution. What works for one person might totally backfire for someone else, depending on their personality, their work, even their culture, where they're from.
So it's not as easy as just downloading the latest productivity app then. There's more to it, huh?
Way more. And that's why Eon and Guinness, they offer these three new perspectives to help us understand why time management is so complex
Okay.
and how to make it work for us, not against us.
All right, lay it on me. What's the first perspective?
So it's all about what they call time structures and norms. Basically, it's how the environment we're in shapes how we experience time. Imagine a team where if you're 5 minutes late, you lose a whole day's pay.
Oh, wow.
Extreme example, but it shows how powerful those unspoken rules about time can be.
Yeah, that would definitely make me watch the clock.
Yeah.
But I guess those kinds of rules are everywhere, even if they're not that intense.
Exactly. Think about your own work. Are there unspoken expectations about answering emails after hours? How long is lunch supposed to be?
Right.
These are all time norms that kind of guide our behavior, even if we don't realize it.
That makes me think about how different cultures view time, too. Like, some places, it's fine to be late for a meeting, but in others, it's, super rude. Those cultural norms definitely play a role.
Absolutely. And that's a key point. We're not just managing our own time, we're managing it in relation to other people and what they expect.
Okay, so time structures and norms, those written and unwritten rules of time, that's the first piece. What's the second perspective?
All right. So the second one focuses on individual differences. Eon and Guinness argue that not everyone benefits from the same time management techniques. It depends on your personality, what you like. Are you a multitasker who loves juggling a million things at once, or do you prefer to focus on one task at a time?
Oh, I'm definitely a multitasker, but I am trying to get better at single tasking because I think it helps me get more done. But it's hard to resist having a million tabs open.
Totally get it. And that's a great example of how knowing your own time personality can be so helpful. There are other individual differences too, like whether you like to keep work and life separate or blend them.
So knowing ourselves is just as important as knowing our environment when it comes to time management.
Exactly. But there's one individual difference that's super important, and you might not have heard of it before: temporal awareness. It's basically believing that time is a limited resource, something you need to budget.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me more about temporal awareness and why it matters.
Think of it this way. Someone with high temporal awareness, they're always kind of doing these mental calculations,
Right.
like how long will this really take? Is it even worth the time? Can I squeeze it in before my next meeting? They have a good handle on how much time they've got and how they're using it.
So it's not just about using a calendar or to-do list. It's about having that deeper awareness that time is valuable, something to be invested wisely, kind of like money, right?
Exactly. And the research shows people with more temporal awareness, they tend to be better at time management overall. They don't overcommit as much or feel so rushed all the time.
Makes me wonder, if I get better at that temporal awareness, could I actually feel like I have more time, even though obviously there's still only 24 hours?
It's definitely possible. And that brings us to the third perspective, which is about the decisions we make about time, or as Eon and Guinness call it, temporal decision making.
Okay, so we've talked about the environment, individual differences. Now it's decision time.
Right. Time management, at its core, it's a series of choices, big and small. We choose what to do, when, how long to spend on it, when to move on.
And you're saying we don't always make the best choices.
Well, let's just say brains can be a little quirky when it comes to time. Remember that sunk cost fallacy? That thing where you stick with something even if it's not working just because you've already put so much time or money in?
Ugh, yes. Guilty as charged. Spent way too many hours on projects going nowhere.
Well, Aon and Guinness say that time management techniques, if you're not careful, they can make you even more likely to fall for that sunk cost trap.
Really? How so?
Because when you get super focused on scheduling every minute, tracking everything, you might miss the bigger picture. Like, is this task even worth it? Are my efforts paying off? Or am I just throwing good time after bad because it's on my calendar?
So it's like the time management system itself becomes a trap.
Could be. And there's another interesting thing about temporal decision making. It's how we see the value of time.
You mean like that whole time is money idea?
Yeah. While it's good to value our time, research shows that being too focused on the money value of every minute can backfire.
Wait, so you're saying being super aware of what my time is worth, like dollar-wise, can make me worse at time management? How does that even work?
Seems counterintuitive, right? But when you're always calculating the dollar value of every hour, it creates this pressure, this urgency, and that can lead to stress, feeling behind all the time.
So it's like we're micromanaging our own time clock, and it makes us feel more crunched, less in control.
Exactly. Interestingly, studies show that being generous with our time, like helping others, volunteering, spending time with people we love, that can actually make us feel like we have more time, not less.
It's like by giving our time freely, we kind of expand our own perception of it.
That's a great way to put it. Shifts from scarcity to
I
abundance.
like that.
And this leads to a big question that Eon and Guinness raise: is managing time even the right way to think about it? Or is there a different approach we need?
Okay, now I'm really curious. What's the alternative? Are we ditching our calendars and just going with the flow?
Not necessarily, but maybe instead of trying to control and optimize every single minute, we should try to cultivate a sense of what we might call temporal mindfulness.
Temporal mindfulness. I like the sound of that. But what does it actually mean?
It's about being present in the moment, appreciating how time flows naturally rather than constantly trying to, manipulate it.
So it's about enjoying the experience of time, whether we're working, having dinner with family, or just having a quiet moment.
Exactly. Shifting from quantity to quality, from achieving to experiencing.
That's a really interesting concept. I know I feel this pressure to be productive all the time, and I forget to just enjoy the moment, to just be.
A lot of us fall into that trap, especially with our go, go, go culture.
So if we were to sum up these insights, what are the key takeaways for our listeners who want to improve their relationship with time?
Well, I think the most important thing is realizing time management is not just about tools and techniques.
Right.
It's about understanding ourselves, our environment, and how we make decisions about this precious resource.
It's about recognizing time is more than something to be managed. It's the fabric of our lives.
Nicely put. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive.
Great. Any final thoughts for our listeners?
I'd say the biggest thing to remember is time is a gift, right? It's something to be cherished, used well. Doesn't mean we got to be productive every second. It's finding that balance, hitting our goals, but also, enjoying the journey.
Love that. Making our time count in ways that matter to us.
Exactly. And one of the best ways to do that, I think, is being more mindful of how we spend it. Noticing when it's slipping away on stuff that doesn't matter, making an effort to put our time towards things that bring us joy, connect us with others, get us closer to those goals.
So maybe instead of time management, it should be more like time stewardship.
Oh, I like that. Time stewardship. Yeah, it has that responsibility, intentionality, but without that pressure to control every minute.
It's making choices that match our values, our priorities, and being present in each moment, whether we're working or playing or just resting.
Well said. Great takeaway for our listeners.
Yeah, let's leave them with that thought.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of time.
And until next time, may you use your time wisely and well.